Hey, Anthony, live in Las Vegas at Virgin. How are you, brother?
So I shouldn't be roving?
I hope God Almighty help me.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. I, of course, am Glenn Hausman. We got the one, the only incredible Anthony Melchiori with us. Anthony, I don't know about you, but I'm super excited to be here at Virgin Hotel Las Vegas. Wow, what a difference a year or two makes.
Listen, there's something about the Virgin name. Once you hear that they're going to have a hotel in Vegas, you just get excited. Like everything else, all the other hotels that are opening kind of goes away because you just want to experience that. And I experienced last night the hotel room, and it was fantastic. It was one of the most comfortable sleeps I've ever had in a hotel in my life.
Right. So today we're going to be talking with Richard Bosworth, who owns and operates the hotel. But to get us started, we are going to be talking with Mr. Joe Hasson. He is the general manager of the Mohegan Sun Casino here over at the Virgin Las Vegas. How are you, sir? It's great to see you.
Doing well this morning. I'm glad you got me early in the morning Vegas time because the temperature is still sensible today.
I know. We are sitting outside, and what is it? It's only about 275 degrees out today, so pretty calm.
Yeah, that's why I'm not in a suit. I thought that would have been a really bad idea. And just for everybody knows, we're literally sitting right next to each other because everything's back to normal.
It really is. And I'll tell you, Joe, it must feel really good for you for things to get back to normal. Now, the last time I was here in town was June 3rd of last year when one of the other major casino resort companies reopened their property. What a difference a year makes. I feel like it is almost normal, Joe.
It is, and it's exciting to be back to on the way to normal, I'll describe it as.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that it's only been several weeks now where guests could move about in Las Vegas without a mask on, without being overly concerned about social distancing. All of those things remain important for those guests who may not yet have been vaccinated, but nonetheless, the community and the business environment and Vegas is coming back to normal.
Big time. I mean, I'm hearing about some of the crowds are bigger than people have seen before. I mean, I had a friend that came and said, I've never seen Vegas busier.
Busy is the watchword. There's plenty of pent-up demand, and I think guests are expressing that by showing up in Vegas, finding their way out of their homes and into a fun and exciting environment, the entertainment capital of the world, and truly the destination capital of the world. Vegas is back.
So we want to geek out a little bit before we really talk about anything else. And we're always, anytime I walk through a casino floor, I'm sitting at a poker table or a blackjack table, I'm always interested in why it's designed or why it's formulated the way it's formulated. So what goes into when you did this casino floor? What goes into that? Like, what goes into the making of a casino?
And just before you say that, you joined in February 2020, so you really were there at the important time to help plan out how everything would go. Please take it away.
That's correct. And of course, keep in mind that this resort, Virgin Hotels Las Vegas, and now their partner, Mohegan Sun Casino Las Vegas, we occupy a footprint here at this resort that pre-existed. So if we back up through the storied history of this resort, the casino was present, the hotel was present, the restaurants were present. What we needed to do was reinvent, reimagine, and repurpose the space.
Right.
So how do we do that? Formulaically, we ask ourselves, what does a guest want? Certainly, they want an array of table games, whether it be blackjack, baccarat, roulette, whether it be dice, whether it be any of the many carnival games that people enjoy. They also want a great selection of slot machines. And what we said was, let's give them the old and let's give them the new. This resort, again, occupied this location for 25 years.
Right.
Let's keep those tried and true games that have lived on in consumer sentiment and consumer desire since the beginning. Let's keep those. Let's now add the newest themes, everything from pennies to $100 denominations. Let's populate the casino in a way that meets consumer expectations.
That's pretty cool. You also changed you did change the floor a little bit. I don't know how much you had to do with it, but where there used to be bathrooms, there's a steakhouse. You put in a sports book in a different place. The place where the sports book was now, thankfully, is kind of like the center bar type of concept over there, which I think works so much better, because the way this used to be is that all that great real estate kind of hidden for the sports book. Now everything seems to be open, more together, more unifying. But how do you go about placing things physically on the floor to get people to pull out their wallets and want to play?
Well, like any retail establishment, what you want guests to do is to enjoy the journey. As they walk through the casino or through the resort, you want each next step to have purpose. And in that regard, we try to place what I would describe as the eye candy, the magnets, the attractive games, the lively action. We try to place it front and center,
right,
or we try to create a nook or a cranny where guests will walk in and say, this is exactly what I was looking for.
So does that mean, if you're going to have Anthony standing there to be all the eye candy, maybe you should just hire him. That'll get everybody to
I'm not sure that Anthony is the eye candy that I had in mind, but we could work on that.
I'm more like the green M&M.
Yeah. So I love that Mohegan Sun is really expanding. They're going beyond their footprint. For those of you who don't know, Mohegan Sun is a super large casino resort in Connecticut. It's either the largest or second largest, depending on how you measure it, versus the other casino resort that's in town over there. Plus, Mohegan Sun's done a great job. I think the first casino they operated was a racetrack in Pennsylvania. Then they grabbed a property in Atlantic City. I think you're going overseas as well, right? And now Las Vegas. What a great move for the company that started in its history as just an Indian gambling company with the help of Ron Kerzner, right? Not Ron Kerzner, sorry, Saul Kerzner, back in the day, starting that up. Then went through a lot of permutations, and now you've hit the Las Vegas market. What does it mean for you to be representing Mohegan Sun, and for Mohegan Sun to be in the biggest gaming destination here in North America?
Well, certainly it was important for the tribe and for the business, Mohegan Gaming and Entertainment, to find their way to Nevada. And certainly if you're aiming for Nevada, you aim for Las Vegas. When I think about what does that mean to me personally or professionally, I am fabulously proud to be able to carry the brand name for the first time to the Las Vegas Resort Corridor. It is, I feel the weight of that on my shoulders. It's an important task. To the extent that it's important to the tribe and to the enterprise, certainly I'm prideful and proud that they've entrusted me as an executive to launch that brand in Las Vegas. And we'll do it right. We'll carry the culture, the spirit of Aquay from the tribe and from its businesses elsewhere here to the Las Vegas area. And nothing could be more prideful and proud for me to be at the helm of that.
So when you say you feel the weight of that, what keeps you up at night? What is like the top one or two things that you're worried about going forward?
Like every general manager in the industry, what you think about first is how to take care of just several constituencies. It's very easy to boil down. You want to take care of the owners. Certainly Mohegan Gaming and Entertainment, the Mohegan tribe. We want to meet expectations and exceed those expectations. Then, of course, you also want to think about the guests. How do you meet guests' expectations and also deliver on a value, promise, and proposition that is bigger than what they expected? Most importantly, you got to take care of the team. The team of people here is a veteran team of people. Some of them date back 25 years in the industry, wow. Some of them at this location, at this corner. And it's nice to have them. It's fabulous to have them because they know this business, they know this industry, they know their colleagues, and they know the guests better than anyone else could. They've been here for such a long time. The average team member in my charge here at Mohegan Sun Casino Las Vegas, on average, has 13 years of experience on this street corner here at what is now Mohegan Sun Casino Las Vegas.
So they must be really excited to be back at it and be back at home. You know, one of the things we're going to talk to our next guest about is how you bring all these venues together. But from your perspective, having control of your venue, how do you interact with all the other venues, whether it be the restaurant venue, the hotel venue? What's your What's your number one secret for doing that?
Well, I don't want to describe it as a secret. There's no secret rocket fuel in our business. Here's what we do. There's a spirit of cooperation. There's a spirit of camaraderie. There's a spirit of respect. And what we need to do is just bundle that every day so that when I'm dealing with the hotel team, we are respectful, cooperative, collegiate buyers of hotel rooms. When I'm dealing with the restaurant entrepreneurs, we are also respectful, collegiate partners in this business. When I'm thinking about the showrooms, whether it be 24 Oxford or whether it be the theater or whether it be the pool venues here in the summer season, again, we are respectful buyers of those products and services. As long as we keep the concepts of respect, cooperation, and a collegiate air about it, we all find our way to good results.
And you couldn't have said that any better, because when you have such a huge project in Vegas with the Virgin Hotel name on top of really everything, I mean, there is a responsibility to ensure you work with everyone. Because when people are flying to Vegas, they're staying at the Virgin Hotels, they don't realize all the things you just said, what goes into that. They just know that I'm going to the Virgin Hotel and it better work.
And frankly, the guest doesn't have to be concerned about that, because they don't need to know all the inner workings of partnership, organization, entities, structure of a corporation. What they need to know is service and seamless delivery. They're looking for a casino experience here at Virgin Hotels. Well, it just happens to be Mohegan Sun Casino Las Vegas. We're proud of that. They're looking for a great dining experience, whether it be One Steakhouse, whether it be the Kitchen at Commons Club, whether it be Cassi Beach. They're looking for a good, reliable, trustworthy, and fulfilling experience. Whether they're coming to the pool or the showroom, the same is true.
And I should say right now we're coming at you from the patio of Cassi Beach restaurant here. But Joe, we're getting real low on time with you because we're going to have to move on to our next interview. But I have to ask you this particular question. Younger people want to gamble differently. How does that affect the way that you try to structure stuff on the casino floor to appeal towards different demographics and different generations?
Here's an important dimension of that. You hear guests and industry pundits all the time now talking about skill-based games. I want to remind everyone that has a chance to listen to this and watch this podcast, skill-based games have existed in casinos since the dawn of time. Blackjack is a skill-based game.
That's right.
If you're a good blackjack player, you have an edge. Video poker, skill-based game. If you're a good video poker player, you'll find a game that you can get an edge. What I remind everyone, whether it's the older generation, whether it's the newest generation of guests that enjoy casinos, come and enjoy. We've got something for everyone at every price point and every level of entertainment that a casino can offer.
What's your favorite game to play?
My favorite game to play is blackjack. It's a game, again, I mentioned it's a skill-based game. With enough knowledge of the game, you can carve out a slight edge as a consumer. You asked me a few moments ago, what keeps a casino operator awake late in the hours of the evening or in the wee hours? Blackjack keeps me awake at night.
You don't want to see Dana White playing blackjack if you take
I've dealt to Dana for years and years and years. Happy to take his money if he offers.
Do you see me over there? Oh, I'm back. All right. So let's wrap up this. Interview. Joe, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Joe.
Anthony, let's get our next guest in here. So I'm going to take over. What we're doing right now is just switching
waiting
up.
for her to take me out so they wouldn't see you.
The owner.
It was a pleasure.
Coming in over here.
Hey, boss.
Who has the guts to be wearing? Hold on. He's got the guts to be wearing a sport coat. Can I get the microphone back from you? Microphone. If you could just give it to Boz, that'd be great. All right. Thank you. All right, just stay tuned with us for just 1 second. If you guys could jump back in here, that'd be super duper.
We're just like right here.
All right, they're getting those things set. Here he comes. He's coming in right now. If you could come right over here next to me, sir, I'd really appreciate that.
Sneak on in?
Yeah, sneak on in. All right. And we are back in the game. Hello, Richard Bosworth. Hello, sir.
Man, good to see you. Thanks for being here. What a beautiful morning, huh?
My goodness.
Yeah,
this is so exciting.
And it's not 115 degrees right now either.
I know, right?
We're doing good.
All right, so to address our audience, if you can look at the camera, not at me. I know it's hard to keep your eyes
It
off
really
of me,
is.
Richard.
It really is hard. But
First of all, the best place to start off with this is congratulations. Congratulations on opening and creating such an incredible property born out of the ashes of property. A lot of us had many good times here. Can't wait to start creating brand new good times here. First question out of the gate. How did this come together? How's a guy like you wind up owning a casino resort in Las Vegas?
well, I was tending bar in the 70s in the disco era, so what's next? You know,
It's not a far jump.
it's not a far jump, right? You know, you go from the disco era to casino.
I want to know the bar and I want to know the disco.
Adam's Apple.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Adam's Apple Boodles, First
Okay.
Avenue. So, no, it's a long trek. But to kind of cut to the chase, it really is a, the project for us. We were pursuing a number of assets in Las Vegas,
Right.
But the Hard Rock property, the 1,500 rooms, the 27 acres, the location. We love the location. Harmon and Paradise, right off the resort corridor. It fit every single checkbox that we had for a property transformation. Hard Rock, highly successful brand, no question. And as you indicated, we all have our stories about the Hard Rock. The key was the Hard Rock in 1995 was dubbed the resort for a new generation.
Right.
And here we are 26 years later, literally by definition, a new generation.
Time for a new generation.
Time for a new generation.
Right. Hey, boss, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yeah.
Your microphone is hitting the shirt, so it's making a little ruffly noise.
Is that better?
Perfect.
Okay.
Much better. Please continue. Time for a new generation.
Time for new generation, but I also want to define generation as not necessarily an age. It's a travel energy, it's a travel vibe, it's experiences, it's an ecosystem.
Thank you for saying that. I'm going to interrupt right there. You're the first person to ever say that. Thank you for saying the new generation isn't an age. You said it better than anybody I've ever heard. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I'd be crushing myself otherwise, right? Too, because I might be the oldest one, right between the three of us here. But it really is about experiences and travel experiences. And this was the perfect box, the perfect bones to pull this off. And our plan is a little different. What we've done here entrepreneurially, which is very difficult to do in Las Vegas.
Right.
It's generally public companies. It is, the large real estate investment funds, private equity funds, the Blackstones of the world, the MGMs of the world,
Right.
Winds of the world, if you may, Eldorado / Caesars. So how do you compete in the hospitality capital of the world, in their market, in their playground? And in order to do so, and I have great respect for every company that I just mentioned, but you've got to beat them at their own game.
Of course.
And that comes with your marketing partners and your operating basically play on an even playing field with the MGMs of the world. You got to come in armed, and you got to come in armed with marketing and data, and you got to come in armed with the right operating partners who have an alignment of interest, and that's what we did here.
So just to go back, and I want to, not only people coming into the industry, but even very seasoned people in the industry, I want them to understand the seed. The day this started to become something, what were you thinking, and who was the first person you needed to reach out for? And from a money standpoint, so your company basically is a finance company. Your company is the one that raises the money and then goes out and finds these partners. Explain that to the audience.
Yeah, we're actually a little bit more in depth than that. I actually office on property, and JC Hospitality, who's the ownership group of Virgin Hotels Las Vegas, actually acts as the overall property manager. We keep in mind we have 13 different operating partners on property. So from a real estate perspective and a property management perspective, we're responsible for the overall coordination. I often refer to us as NBA All-Stars, right? You got 5 players that you can put on the court, everyone completely capable of being successful on themselves, by themselves, but you can only put 1 ball on the court. You can't put 5. So we're the group that makes sure that everybody is coordinating and is working in one alignment of interest with one common goal and one voice. So that really becomes our day-to-day responsibility here on property. But to answer the question, we were looking at another property in town. when we had the opportunity to acquire the Hard Rock. And some of the team was already engaged. I was engaged with Mohegan. I was engaged with Hilton, and we're part of the Curio system. And knowing that the other project we were looking at was close to 4,000 rooms, and the Hard Rock, former Hard Rock,
right,
only 1,500, right? Any other market that we could talk about would be the largest property. Right. Here, it's a little puppy.
It's quaint.
It's quaint. It's quaint. It's very vibey. It's very boutique. We could pull off what we needed to pull off, which was a lifestyle, old Vegas meets new Vegas.
Right.
So I then called Virgin, who I had been in dialogue with for years over doing a smaller project here. And then it was a matter of getting Hilton and Virgin and Mohegan, all in the same room, eventually AEG on the entertainment side.
Oh, goodness.
And I joke, and I want to be clear, this is a joke. Everyone says, well, how did you get them all on the same page? And I said, with a 2x4.
Right.
We put everybody in a room together with 2x4, and we all came out friends.
Anthony, you
grew up in Brooklyn too, huh?
Washington Heights, about 186 in Cabrini. So
your 2x4 is bigger than mine.
Pretty close to the Bronx.
All right, so Boz, this is really fascinating to me that you bring together all of these disparate partners, and you kind of rally them all together behind a common cause. How does a Virgin relationship work with a Hilton relationship work? Because that is unusual, I would argue.
And it's remarkable.
Yeah.
And to your point where it's unusual, we all had the same, we got to really watch this carefully, right? Because you've got you've got the 101-year-old public hotel company, one of the largest hotel companies, second largest hotel company in the world, real estate perspective, perhaps the largest hotel company in the world. And then you've got this new emerging hotel company that's coming out of a very seasoned travel company. Clearly Virgin Group is a travel company. So how do you get them on the same page to work together? And it's been remarkable. They have embraced each other. When I was first looking at doing the project, it was kind of like the devil and the angel, right?
Right.
I had Virgin on one ear and I had Hilton on the other shoulder. And Virgin's like, we're cool, man. We're cool. And we got this worldwide network. You really don't need Hilton, right?
Yeah.
And I got a Hilton on the other shoulder saying, hey, we have such a strong pipeline of business, particularly groups and events. We'll fill that Sunday through Thursday. You don't really need another hotel brand. And I looked left at Virgin and said, you don't have the pipeline that they have as of yet, with 6,500 hotels and 16 national sales offices. And then I looked at Hilton and said, and you haven't figured out cool yet. So it was just like, guys, we're doing this together, get in the room and figure it out.
I still don't understand how these companies would work with each other. Like, I get Hilton's other relationship with that other new resort that's opening up this week, for example. That's a little different.
Yes.
But to have two hotel companies partnering, that seems like a Herculean effort.
Can I take a shot at answering that?
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm going to take a shot at answering that. It's Vegas. That's my answer.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great start because, look,
everybody wants to be in Vegas.
We talk about Tampa, you could talk about New York, Chicago, San Francisco, St. Louis, LA. I've been involved in hotel investments or developments in every major, city in the United States and overseas. But Vegas is different. There's a different dynamic here. We refer to TrevPAR as opposed to RevPAR.
Right.
And that's, I think, where it starts.
Right. Let's just explain that. It's the total revenue per room and stuff like that. So you're figuring in, I guess, gambling and food and beverage and all of that kind of stuff as well.
You have to. It's total property yielding. It's just not room revenue, yielding.
And Bob, sorry to interrupt again, but for hoteliers out there, this is something that we've been preaching that you need to be focused on a lot more. And Virgin has excelled at getting people to spend more money than some other brands. Sorry, please continue.
No, thank you. I appreciate you pointing that out because we have to yield total property revenue, not just one segment of it. And we have many different segmentations of customers here, whether it be conference, whether it be leisure, whether it be food and beverage, whether it be entertainment, whether it be retail, whether it be gaming. You just heard, Joe, a captain of the industry, Joe Hasson, speak to that. So when you look at it all, each company coming in has known that it's all new to them. But here's an important data point, which really kind of gets you to show you how they all work together. When you look at the Hilton Honors Program, 115 million active members, you look at 60 million worldwide travel customers throughout all the different Virgin groups. When you look at the 15 plus million active players with Mohegan, you look at AEG that's managing some of the world's largest arenas, and not to mention Hasson Group with Casa Calavera, Morton Group with One Steakhouse. I can go on and on and on across our entire food and beverage operation. We have a database, an active database of about 200 million. Now let's put that into perspective. MGM has about 60 million worldwide. Wow. And they own 38% of the market in Las Vegas. We have 200 million database with only 1,500 rooms. And this is really dramatic, but also dynamic for all the operators to feed off of each other. They all understand that just the power of this marketing machine is going to help them both grow. It's going to introduce them to new customers that they normally wouldn't have access to. So for them, it's a significant level of excitement that they bury some of their past practices and come together with forming these new practices. If you look at between the pent-up demand through the Hilton system, the Virgin system, the Mohegan system, AEG, and some of the others, while take MGM as an example, has, as I mentioned, 60 million in their database, right? And they have 85% of their worldwide inventory is in Las Vegas. Yeah. Of our 200 million live database, only 2.5% of that demand is currently in Las Vegas. Wow. So we have this wide open palette to market to and really introduce everybody to a new customer.
All right, that's pretty compelling. That's a pretty compelling story that you tell up there. So Michael Weinberg asks, Trev Par for a casino property, does that also include spa spend, gambling spend, F&B spend, anything else? It's kind of like everything.
And including cabanas, right? Last week in our day club, our day beds were going for $2,500 minimum, and the cabanas were going up to a $2,000 minimum.
Wow. It's like 2019 all over again.
We had, for sure. We had headline entertainment as well. It's a beautiful Mykonos-style themed day club. But when you're looking at, maybe getting $225 for a hotel room, but you're getting $10,000 minimum, for a cabana out at the pool for the day, as an example, that just goes to show you how you have to yield that profit, and it becomes it really becomes a discussion.
And it also levels up that $10,000 day room. It basically levels up the average rate for the hotel room. So if I'm spending $10,000 at the pool, and I know that those are going for, your level of customer becomes a person that's willing to pay more money for a hotel room because they want to be at that pool.
And that's where the intrinsic value is of something like a day club, right? Where we may have a very heavy burden on entertainment for a particular day, right? But the reality is that the customer that introduces it to, the energy level that it creates on the property allows you to get those additional dollars in your ADR, allows you to get those additional, price points in some of your restaurants. I was teasing some of the Hilton guys coming in. We all know the same guys, right? We all know the same team. Certainly very skilled hoteliers. In one of my first meetings, I said, you're going to have to understand there's going to be moments where this is going to be 16 food and beverage operations with a 1,500 room hotel attached to it. Right. And you got to get used to that.
I'm dealing with something similar in Long Beach. We have 150 rooms with 5 very powerful food and beverage venues. In a very small kind of box, comparatively speaking.
That's a fun market. I love Long Beach.
Yeah, it's like anything else. This is you're on an edge. This is you have to be able to perform every day. Everything matters. Every conversation matters. Every relationship matters. The way you show up matters. The reason you got these deals done is because of your personality, because the way you talk, the way you have numbers backing up everything you say. It's compelling. Everything matters. When people are going into hotels, they're looking at one area, or the worst thing is when you go into business, because I like this kind of business. Instead of having, you throw more numbers and more information at us as experienced people who've been in this industry for a very long time. And I'm very compelled to use Glenn's word. It's a very compelling story, and it just makes perfect sense. When I first started hearing about it, I was like, wait a second. And I saw Todd English, and I actually helped open the Todd English restaurant at Intercontinental in the city.
Oh, God.
And
What an operation that is.
yeah, so I worked for Tishman as the first vice president of asset management. So I was involved in that deal, and I just know like that is how difficult and challenging those kind of one-off deals are. So I can't imagine what keeps you up at night. So but you know what? Just speaking to you for a few minutes, your enthusiasm is contagious. You're so curious, and where's that come from? When you say you grew up in New York, when you were a kid, is this what you thought you were going to be running this hotel in Vegas?
Yeah, I think. No. I think when my mother thought I was going to be taking a bar exam, she didn't think it had anything to do with mixology. So it's kind of a true story. No, I mean, well, yes. I mean, I've been in this industry, like so many of us, right? We all start dishwashers. We all start flipping pizzas and, busboy, waiting tables, tending bar. That's how we all start, right? So that's not a unique story. Dunkin' Donuts, better yet, right? I spent some time in Boston and Dunkin' Donuts you. So that's not unique, right? Where so many of us have that in our DNA. This is a project you cannot take your hands off the wheel. You cannot take your hands off the wheel. You have to be driving it all the time. But it's fun, right? It is fun. But for me, the enthusiasm comes in part. Look, I office on property. That provides a level of additional pressure and stress and a dynamic on our operators. But I also, back in my hotel days, I also had been the general manager of 2 corporate office hotel properties. Right. And I was used to 26 vice presidents walking through my restaurant every day with 26 different opinions of where the pickle goes on the plate. So I became very hardened by that because after a while you become thick-skinned and you learn to let your passion drive the property. So I have to be very careful that I don't become. Am I allowed to use bad words here?
Yeah, you can.
I got to be really careful not going to be one of those asshole 26 vice presidents walking through with a different opinion of the pickle on the plate. You got to allow the operators room to do what they need to do. Right. And you know what? They're great operators. They know more than me. Right. But I've got to be here to kind of help just drive it. Best part of my day is being on the floor. I walk the property 4 times a day. Awesome. I got to know the customers. I got to wave hi. There has to be that old-time hospitality feeling. We all worked. Remember, we were all forced as former general managers to be in the lobby, right? Remember, just to kind of meet and greet customers. You can't lose that, right? You can't lose that in your DNA. You got to be out there meeting the customers, greeting people, and with 1,500 rooms. You could do that.
And if you're doing it that well, not only with the customers, but with everybody else that works with you, all the other companies, there's a moment where that pickle on the plate's bothering you so much that you're going to be able to give your opinion about that pickle on the plate in a very nice setting where you can maybe get your way, but it's going to come up organically.
It has to.
When I was an asset manager at Tishman, I was at the Westin Hotel. I officed at the Westin Hotel, and I was right down the hallway from the general manager. What's that?
43rd and 8th.
Yeah, and I was on the floor as a general manager, and I remember saying, "I don't want to office here. I want to office at Tishman." They're like, "No, you have to be on the property."
Right.
And I was like, "I'm uncomfortable with that." But I became good friends with the general manager. Became good friends. Actually, now my partner, the revenue manager, is my partner in my business.
That's great.
But it was very uncomfortable for me because, like you said, Eric Long, my mentor at the Waldorf Astoria, he goes, "Don't become that asshole vice president. Yep. Don't do it." And I really have to challenge myself not to move the pickle on the plate because we're all OCD in this business.
That's right. And look, we are attention to detail. That's what it's all about. So it really is a matter of talking and communicating. And, you could sit in a restaurant, right? And, here's a perfect example of competing interests. You could sit in the restaurant for breakfast. And we all know what that's like. You got a corporate clientele, you've got a breakfast meeting going on, but yet there happens to be a Willy Wonka slot machine that's within distance of the restaurant, and somebody hits and it's like ba-bing, ba-bang, ba-bing, ba-boom, and all of a sudden you can't really conduct your meeting in the restaurant. Right. So you have to have the ability to go talk to a Joe Hasson, right, who you just interviewed and spoke with, and say, "Hey, Joe, I know there's a science to laying out slots, right? This guy's put out more slots on floors than I pass telephone poles. Mm-hmm. But, does it have to be next to where some of our corporate clientele might be wanting to have a breakfast meeting?" Right. And a guy like Joe gets it. That's awesome. He gets it. He goes, "Yeah, you know what? Let me either turn down the volume or we'll move the machine." And that's the level of dialogue that it takes with this team of all-stars, which is why we're kind of feeling like we're an NBA coach. Our very first leadership meeting we had before we opened, I brought in, Michael, Ruzioni, captain of the USA, Miracle on Ice team.
Oh, wow.
He zoomed in. It was still COVID restrictions.
Right.
But Rizzo really spoke to what it's like to having a team that really hasn't played together, learn a new game, and play together.
Right.
And that's what it's like. They have to work as a team, and they're doing it. And I'm so proud of all of them.
And every person on the team has to be ready for the show. I always talk, when I'm building teams, the first thing I talk about is like, we're in the big leagues. You have to be ready for the show. If you're ready for the show, then you'll figure out the rest, because everybody else on the team is at your level. So if you're at a different level, then you probably don't come to the table. So everybody you're talking to at that table, everybody in that executive room, like you said, he's put in more slots than a telephone company put in telephone poles. That's the price of admission. And that's where teams and organizations make a mistake. They put the people that's supposed to be in the room with people that should not be in the room.
Right.
And that's where things are. And that was your job, to make sure everybody in the room belongs there.
And just to continue and keep that energy going. Perfect example, we're sitting in this beautiful restaurant here at Cassie Beach, right? I mean, it's gorgeous, and it's killing it, by the way. It's really become a heartbeat.
Anthony's going to show us around. All right. So
keep going.
So Nicky Mathers, he's never operated in a hotel before, right? This is a management agreement, never operated in a resort. Now we have a 16-person sales team here. We'll crank out 125,000 group rooms, within the next year.
Wow.
And there's a lot of private dining that comes with that. And he's now learning the value of our sales team could put 1,000 people in here or 500 people here on a Tuesday afternoon in August at 2:00 in the afternoon, when he normally would have very, very little activity.
Right.
So they're all starting to see the values of how the jigsaw puzzle all fits together and how they all need to work together to drive success for the property.
How complex was it for you to find all of these different entities that were complementary to each other to remove any potential friction in the future once everybody started working together?
So, look, we all know that this is, a vanity business, right? But as I always tell everybody, we haven't watched Ocean's 11 one too many times. None of us
you can never watch that.
Yeah, but realize none of us are Andy Garcia, and none of us have Julia Roberts waiting for us to have dinner.
Why was Julia Roberts with him anyway? He was kind of both of those men were kind of jerks at the end of the day. She deserved better.
She did deserve better, but but she's not here waiting for any of us either. So it's not what that says. But regardless, this is a vanity business, right? And it can be considered a vanity business. And the key is to maintain that you don't get caught up in the vanity of a casino resort. Where they came in and they imploded because they couldn't maintain that level of discipline in Las Vegas. And you have to retain and maintain discipline in Las Vegas. We're not here to party, we're here to work. And as part of that, it's like you want the egos of these different organizations to be brought to the table, because these egos really make them work. But they got to leave off the arrogance, and they got to leave away the thought processes that they know how to do everything themselves. And they have to be willing to rethink what they've learned in the past, because there are dynamics in a casino resort, particularly in the market of Las Vegas, that are different.
Richard, do you do a lot of teaching? Do you do a lot of speaking?
I have been, yeah. It's enjoyable. I love addressing, of course, students of the industry, but more importantly, I love speaking to the people of Las Vegas within our industry. It's the hospitality industry in Las Vegas is akin to the movie industry in LA, or the entertainment industry in LA. It's the industry, and people care. And they pay attention. It's a very educated
and they're professionals.
Community.
They're truly professionals.
It's the labor market here, the pool of hospitality professionals is fantastic. They really care about their work and their job, and they're great customers as well. But they're demanding customers. So I love speaking within the community here as well. I have had the opportunity through this project to branch out on a more, I would say, media level from a standpoint, because our project is interesting. I'm very humbled by that, incredibly humbled by that people do want to hear this hospitality story. But, look, we're open now and we built it. I keep saying, yeah, it's tough work to develop. But now we're open. We got to operate. That's tougher.
Well, the reason I ask that is because your voice is so needed to these young students coming into our industry, because you're able to take these complex issues, and it is a very, very complex to do what you just did. It's incredibly hard. It's almost impossible. And like you said, many people have tried and it doesn't work. But the way you speak, the way you break things down easily, and how humble you are, it's so critical. And you said something that to me is the most important thing in business. Do not take your hands off the wheel. I've trained as a race car driver. And one of the things I love about race car driving is I can't have a thought come into my mind. Not a thought about, oh, did I go to the bank? Not a thought about, what hotel am I opening? Not a thought about, I wonder how my daughter's doing. There is no thought that can come into my mind while my hands on that wheel, because if they do, I'm going to hit the wall.
Yep.
And that's what it's like. And when you said that, that really resonated with me, because people get tired. One of the good things, hopefully, about us is we don't get tired. Of course, we get tired, but we don't get tired. Meaning, we're so lucky and fortunate to be in this business. The level we're at this business is it's just so exciting and enthusiastic. And if things don't work out on one, you just move on. Not saying it's a project this big, but it's just so much fun to build teams and to do something at a level that is it's like winning a gold medal Olympics. What's after that? There's not much. You do this. There's not much bigger venues than this.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. And, the genesis of this business plan, while from a marketing perspective, people come into a market like Las Vegas and compete with the big boys, really generated from experience in taking over distressed assets, right? Because I made the jump from hotel ops into special servicing in the early mid-90s with the S&L failures. So I started really learning how to deal with distressed debt, hospitality debt. But you always have to worry about the exit strategy. One of the reasons that we have the structure that we did right now is because if you look at, let's move from hotels to capital markets, right? Because we all know without efficient capital, you could have the best game plan in the world, but with a capital markets gun to your head, you're going to put that much pressure on your operators. The capital markets for gaming traditionally is more corporate finance, gaming and recreational finance, and that generally over the 30-year period in the state of Nevada, that carries about a 350 to 450 basis point increase in your cost of capital, right, as opposed to real estate or hospitality. So one of the goals that I had was, how does a group of entrepreneurs, and I have wonderful partners, amazing and committed partners, investors, how do we lower our cost of capital to take that gun away from the operators? And this structure allows it to fall into real estate finance as opposed to corporate finance. And that was a big, also a significant driver of this project, was because it allowed us to mitigate some perceived risks, and I want to say perceived, but that are with gaming, by having an operator like Mohegan here as opposed to doing it ourselves.
Right.
We're licensable. We certainly have to go through the same level of scrutiny in order to be here to begin with. So it's not a licensing or a regulatory issue. It's an issue. It's really more of a capital markets issue.
And when people are looking at deals like this, there's a checklist, right? The capital guys, they have these checklists. And if it doesn't get into that box, they want to know 20 reasons why you're not in that box. So why don't you have a Mohegan as your operator? You can do it yourself. Well, that's interesting. Well, now answer these 20 other 7 questions, and you can't answer them.
No.
Because it gives them a level of they want to sleep at night. Like, we operate every day. We're here every day. We're worrying about, is housekeeping in the room. All they're caring about, am I getting my interest rate that you promised me? And because the last thing they want you to do is not be successful.
No, the goals, the priorities are a bit different.
Right. And I always say, the hotel runs based on the deal that was made on the land.
That's right.
I say that every day. I don't care if it's a Holiday Inn Express. I don't care if it's a hotel this big. If that deal's not made properly, everybody's stressed out.
You cannot have a smart operating plan without a smart capital markets and a smart real estate plan. They all have to work together. And again, that was one of the keys to this. And I think it was one of the ways that, because it's very hard to finance in this town. Look at the way the private equity works. First off, the general cost to build a casino resort right now, because you have to chock it full of so many amenities, is about $1.5 million a key. That's an average. So we obviously were able to acquire and transform, as you both have experiences in, at a fraction of replacement cost. That only gets you so far. Okay, the next part.
But that's a big deal. It is a big deal.
It is a big hurdle. It's a big deal, particularly when you're addressing the capital markets. But if you are looking to buy land, and you're looking to develop a plan, and you're doing your architectural and your engineering work, and then you go out and you procure financing, and then you build the property, and then you're stabilizing the property, which is going to take some time in this market. You're beyond that typical private equity 3 to 5 year turnaround where you got to turn dollars. So the private equity model typically does not work all that well for new project construction in Las Vegas, which is why the public companies kind of own that ability, to do that, because they could draw credit lines.
And some of that has to do with the fact that there's a long start to end date before you can start generating cash.
There is.
That's the whole thing.
Where's the lender's exit? Or does that private equity firm, all the names that we know, are they going to be able to churn those dollars in that period of time because they're yield driven?
Yep.
So
once you get the property, you get in at a price point that you think could be profitable. You get this piece of infrastructure. Now, in my opinion, the property that this used to be had some fundamental flow problems within it that I think was really the Achilles heel of the entire property. This was a property that people loved, and they expanded it, and it was expanded in such a way that it kind of sucked the heart out of the property in a lot of ways. How did you approach trying to give rebirth to that whole side of the casino floor, which prior to your property seemed kind of empty and almost wistful of what it could be, to turn it into generating space of cash, cash generating space?
Go back to the very basic principles that we all know about hospitality with sense of arrival. Right. It starts with your sense of arrival. It starts with your journey through your desert, flying or driving. You're here, right? So your sense of arrival, when you walked into the Hard Rock, the very famous Center Bar, which was a highly successful Center Bar, was right smack in the middle. You had no sight lines to be able to see Nobu or whatever restaurants might be in the back. So it was important for us to immediately, kind of basically open up line of sight and have I laugh, right? The staff, kind of chuckled over the years, but I used to say, I love puppies and I love slot machines and I even love puppy slot machines, but I kind of feel like I'm down the Jersey Shore when the first 15 steps that you take into the building, you got a puppy slot machine that's in the middle of your face. Right. So we moved the gaming floor back about 80 feet, 85 feet.
And the psychology behind that, I know Paco Underhill, who really created the whole industry of understanding consumer behavior and stuff. It's called the transition zone. You walk in, and it takes good 5, 10, 15 steps before you can become part of the space. So you don't even notice anything that's going around with you. And if you do, it's super distracting. Sorry.
So we had it, well, exactly right. And so we had to develop a sense of arrival, a hospitality sense of arrival, where you were checking into a resort, you were checking into a hotel. You could still see the energy of the casino. And now you could see, we literally lifted the Center Bar up. And I always say it's the off-center bar, but we moved it to where the sports book was to the right, where the Commons Club and the Shag Room is. So now you come walking in, you still got that vibey energy going on and that fun, but you now have a view, and we're able to expand the gaming floor, which was really chopped up. So now we have much better flow there. Yep. We have a promenade with our restaurants. And then even when you come outside, if you remember Rehab, you all remember Rehab?
I saw, not to brag, but I saw in the evening Rehab, I saw Snoop Dogg in a private cabana just over that rock work over there back in the day.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you did. But Rehab, and being a New Yorker, if to the extent that I always say our 5-acre pool deck is like Yankee Stadium, but the Rehab was in center field and it was blasting up against the monuments and the center field wall, the staging there. We moved the party. We buried Rehab, literally buried it. I mean, like actually buried it. And we converted it to an event lawn that worked with the conference facility there. So we were able to expand that because events is such a big part of our business. But we moved the day club, now Ilia Beach Club, all the way back to home plate.
Right.
So now you got 5 acres where sound could travel as opposed to just banging it up. And it becomes very very kind of almost like Disney-esque, where you got all different experiences and you got one sense of arrival again that's coming in through your day club environment. So we had to change a lot of the flow. We had to change a lot of the way that the ecosystem fed each other. And we had the opportunity, frankly, we had to close the property to do it.
Yeah. Originally, you weren't even going to close it, but then you decided you had to. Sorry.
It's interesting. You talk about Yankee Stadium. If you look at the new Yankee Stadium, the new Shea Stadium, I still have to call.
I know, right? I did too.
I still got to go.
They're like 10 years plus now.
That's new to us. Right?
Every person, I don't care if you're a Yankee fan or a Met fan, Every single person I spoke to likes the new Shea Stadium better than Yankee Stadium because it was open and it was kind of colder. Where Shea Stadium is kind of what you're talking about. There's more crunch to it. There's more feeling to it. There's more like you're part of it. Whereas the Yankee Stadium is the reason you're there. It's like, wow, look how big and expansive, as opposed to the new Shea Stadium, Citibank. What is it called? Citibank Stadium?
Citi Field?
Citi Field. The new Citi Field Stadium kind of says, okay, oh, you're here? Okay, you're important, not the stadium. And it's just a real different feeling. And I'm a Met fan anyway, so I go.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm a Yankee fan until I'm not. Then I'm a Met fan, right?
Yeah, right.
Anyway, but it all matters. It all makes that your customer. Like if you go after someone, we were just talking about a big blackjack player here in Las Vegas that is famous. You go after that person. That person's not going to come to this casino or to this hotel because of your throw pillow. They're going to come because of a feeling. And if you don't get that feeling right, and that includes the throw pillow, that includes the drink, that includes the person talking to him, that includes uniforms, that includes the scent, it includes everything. This business is enough to drive you crazy. The good news for me was I started it crazy, so it wasn't going to drive me anywhere.
You know, we haven't really talked about entertainment. Entertainment in this town, I think that's really an area that kind of I think we actually misunderwrote when we were acquiring the property. You know, and you come in, we could do things better, you could do this, you could do that, we can make money on entertainment. One of the things that I very, very quickly learned about Las Vegas is that entertainment oftentimes is a loss leader on the show. But what you do is that
you see what they pay like Tiesto.
Exactly, right? But the property activation, I mean, you've got a show here on a Wednesday night. I'm just going to pick a name. Let's say it's Journey, right? Just to say.
I wish they were playing here Wednesday night.
Yeah, right. But watch for future announcements. So I'm probably going to get in a lot of trouble for that.
No one heard anything.
Yeah. Anyway, so when you have that level of activation and you got 4,800 people coming in on a Wednesday, right? They're eating dinner here.
Yeah.
They're drinking at the bar. Right. They're hanging out afterwards. Maybe some of them are staying in the hotel. You know, maybe you got 300 rooms staying in the hotel, but you're pulling in for the local community. You're pulling in off the other resorts. When you have entertainment, but what you also realize, again, being entrepreneurs, how do you compete with MGM? And Caesars and Wynn with their access to entertainment? I was afraid I was going to be getting them on the way up or the way down.
Right.
So we cut the deal with AEG, where AEG is running our theater for us because we needed that. I wanted that access and the expertise in management to run the theater.
I want to show the lobby.
Hey, Anthony, your mic's on.
What's that?
Your mic is on.
Oh.
All right. Sorry about that.
That's your job, Glenn.
I know.
So I want to show,
all right. So let me ask you this then. Well, first of all, Jeff Heilman, he's a writer. He was here last week when Richard Branson was on site. Hey, Jeff, I saw your pictures. You may have even met him. You saw your preview presentation on the BLLA Boutique Conference 2 years back, and it was great to see the vision realized. Unstoppable weekend at that. How was that big launch event last week for you?
That was amazing. It was. I think I'm probably still recovering, but it was. I mean, it was just one thing after one event after another, one surprise after another. Whether it be the launch of the Day Club or Christina Aguilera, kicking off a party, and Flo Rida kicking off a party in the theater, or it was Cassie Beach, Money Baby. Oh my God, Money Baby was remarkable, which is our new sports entertainment venue.
Beautiful.
I could just keep walking around throughout the property. Jeff, thank you for being here. I wish we could have spent some personal time together, but it was, you literally just moved from one thrill moment to the other. And it was what we needed. Now, we officially opened the property on March 25th. We were under 50% restriction. We were under 6 feet social distancing.
Right.
But we wanted to get the property open. We wanted to start working some of the things out that we needed to get worked out.
For a soft opening.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
But last week was safe, right?
Good.
Restrictions are lifted in Las Vegas.
Look at us here. We're sitting next to each other. We're vaccinated. We're feeling great.
We are sitting next to each other.
And I got to tell you, Richard, you really had a lot of luck. I mean, when you closed this property, you couldn't have asked for a better timing for that, all things considered, with the world falling apart the way it did. But you were able to not miss out on anything and reopen right in time for the rebirth of Las Vegas. Now, we got Anthony walking around the property over there. I'm not exactly sure where he is, but we get to see him on the go. I love the ceiling, and it looks like you
Isn't
didn't
that great?
cheap out on it. There was another property that did a redo downtown. They changed names. Now they changed names back to the original name. You know
Yes,
which one
I
I'm
know,
talking
sure
about,
do,
right?
yeah.
And originally it had this ceiling that looked real cheap, like a warehouse, and it almost looked like they gave up halfway through building it.
Yeah.
Here, I see all of the details are taken care of. So we're that's the main entrance right behind us over there. That's the check-in desk right over there. You want to just share with what you're saying?
Well, first of all, you're right. We were lucky, and of course, better lucky than smart, right?
Yeah.
So, we shut down on February 3rd, 2020. Obviously, COVID was devastating to the entire industry, the entire country.
That's a front bar,
But
the new circle bar.
Devastated to Las Vegas. But here we are. We had the opportunity. We had some struggles to work through, with supply chains, but we were able to take our time and make sure that all these details were finished completely. And it was incredibly important that you had this journey through the desert, and when you came in, you feel like you've been brought to this journey through the desert, and we could recognize that you needed to be thrilled every 10 to 15 steps. You needed to see something a little different.
And I'm you keep mentioning journey for some reason. I'm curious.
Yeah, wow.
All right, so now we're taking a look at the casino floor as he's walking through it. That looks great over there. Nobu! All right, so we're in the original structure right now, right off the main casino floor. Anthony's looking really terrific over there.
Anthony looks good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So this is fun getting a tour of your property this way. Anthony on the move, Jesse is saying over here. All right, Pizza Place. Now, Pizza Place was here beforehand.
It was, yeah. That's the Ferraro family, a local family, owns Ferraro restaurants here, and they have Pizza Forte here, also locally, and also at the T-Mobile Arena. So as night fans, you get your share of Pizza Forte as well. But we have some local families to maintain local families here, operators. One of the questions I get asked, Glenn, is, did you bring in celebrity chefs? And we have some, for sure. Right?
Todd English's Olives is opening here
Todd's
too.
great and wonderful. He's So Chris is going to be a celebrity chef.
Yeah.
His food is remarkable. So it wasn't about celebrity status. It was about the product.
Honestly, Richard, the way I kind of look at it is the celebrity chefs were a good way to get dining going in the 1990s and early 2000s. Now, all of those men and women who trained under the original celebrity chefs have opened up their own places, either in resorts or in the local community. And now the folks that work with them are poised to be the next generation. So you don't need to have a TV show to have that particular status and quality over here.
No, and actually where Anthony is right now, he's coming back our way, but he's on the Promenade. We buried the lazy river, and we built an outdoor promenade, which has 4 restaurants that open up onto the outside.
Right.
Now, if we were in Hawaii, that might not be so strange, right? If we're in the Caribbean, that might not be so strange. But in Las Vegas, to have an outdoor dining promenade is somewhat rare, particularly in the resort corridor. So we wanted that resort feel. We're right now in front of the resort pool. We have 4 pools here. The resort pool is a very different environment than the day club. The dish pool is a different environment than the resort pool. The event lawn, which is 17,000 square feet.
There he is.
There he is, 17,000. And now he's on the promenade, right?
17,000 square feet. That's great. I can see tons of corporate events.
And we could put a 13,000 square foot tent there as well.
Wow.
As well as has staging, and we're already doing events and festivals out here. The property's also completely well designed for mini music festivals, and we're in a music festival culture.
Right. Yeah, I love music festivals. I really got into those in the 90s, back when I was young and I could handle a big festival over there. So, Richard, as soon as Anthony gets back, we'll start to wrap up a little bit. But
sure.
What are you most excited about going forward at right this point? You've opened, you've done all of that hard work. What are you thinking about now as we move to the future?
Our main focus right now is consumer experience, and ensuring that we're providing the right consumer experience, and this is just not theoretical.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to the hands on the wheel, but I can see the response that we're getting already has been just, very, very humbling and remarkable. And I think now's the time we got to continue to push that, right? Our penthouses are online now. We still have another 250 rooms that need to come online. which were just the supply chain issues due to COVID.
I just
went
wanted
to the FF&E. So for me,
I
the
wanted to
summer is
show
going to
you
be very
how
promising. The bookings for the second half of this year outpaced 2019 and outpaced 2018.
Wow.
So that just goes to show you the Las Vegas recovery and the industry recovery. And I'm so excited about that. We have 2,200 local Las Vegans working here, employed here. We had 1,400 came back from the Hard Rock. And that was incredibly exciting for me to see those family members come back.
Yep.
And then add another 800 locals on top of that.
That's absolutely incredible. Anthony, you able to get back on? Can you talk?
No connection.
We can hear you.
No connection.
Well, we can hear you. We
now
can't
I'm
see
here.
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay, hold on. Now I'm here.
All right.
How was that? Was that helpful?
That was very helpful. We enjoyed that very much. And Anthony's going to pop back on right now.
Coffee, but you're coming through. But
we would, but the line at the Dunkin' Donuts is so long. It's doing so well over there.
Let's talk about Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah?
Like one of these guys, you got to grow up with Dunkin' Donuts here. Dunkin' Donuts was here as a Hard Rock. It was a long-term lease. And there was some questions. Gee, is that on brand with Virgin? And I'm like, you know what? Go see Dunkin' Donuts lines every single morning. You tell me what's on brand and what's not. Dunkin' Donuts, it doesn't matter. It's a hit, and it always will be.
It's interesting you said that because I actually was going to mention it. I was like, I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to bring up something like, that may be controversial. But that's what I felt. I was like, Dunkin' Donuts was not a Starbucks or something.
Yeah, it's nice to change.
High-end coffee. But it does make sense because that's what everybody wants, especially on the East Coast. Now, listen, my first job was putting the cream in the Bavarian cream in the donuts. So
really?
At 13 years old, that was my first job.
I mean, the point is, right, it's okay, that Dunkin' Donuts has been its own established brand. And, look, the way it's presented and the way it just fits well within the property. It's right around the corner from After's Ice Cream, right, that actually serves donuts with ice cream in it. So it's kind of that confectionery little area of the property, but it is a hit. And when you have such a strong Northeast crowd, and Dunkin' Donuts is out west now as well, it's very popular.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what I like about it real quickly.
Yeah.
You can go to the Thai English restaurant that's opening. You can go to the pool. You can get all this great entertainment, these great drinks, this great food, this great feeling. But you know what? Every morning when I'm in New York, if I'm a banker or whatever I do,
Dunkin'.
I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, I get off my train, I go for my Dunkin'. So the one thing that we're all used to in the morning is routine. Right. Our routine gets screwed up after 9 o'clock, but before 9 o'clock, we have a routine so that I can have all this. Plus, I get my cup of coffee, I get my cup of Dunkin' Donuts.
And shame on us if we think that the consumer only likes one style, right?
Right.
Shame on us, because as you indicated, the banking community will get off the train and down on the street, and they'll grab their Dunkin' Donuts. It's a fabulous product, and it's a fabulous it's iconic, right? It's iconic in America. It's iconic to American breakfast. Why not have it?
That's right.
Vegas runs on Dunkin'.
And I had my coffee roll this morning, and I'm feeling pretty good. This is my second cup of coffee. Excited to be up way too early Vegas time. Richard Bosworth, thank you so much for being here.
Glenn, thank you. Anthony, thank you. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. I feel like we could talk to you for another whole hour.
Okay, and before you leave, Richard, who's the one actor everybody tells you look like?
Damn, I'm not sure anybody tells me I look like an act.
So he's actually he's a poker player, celebrity poker player, and he's on Billions right now, and his name escapes me.
I know Gabe Kaplan.
hey! Well, welcome back, Connor. So, I'll take that.
No,
I'll take being the next one.
He's actually a great poker player. Gabe Kaplan. But anyway, it was an honor, not only an honor to be here and for you to take time with us, but to hear how your mind works and just how everything just lines up. Because a lot of people in your position, they understand financing. They even understand turning around hotels. Listen, I made a living out of turning around hotels my whole life. That's what I've done, whether it be the Algonquin, all the hotels we've been involved in. But to be able to understand what that housekeeper needs and what that, big gamer or gamer's a different word now, right? But that the person that's spending $1 million in the casino, what they need and also what the investors need. It's just really, really great to hear someone with all of that in one brain. So it's a pleasure.
Well, thank you. That's very humbling. And this is an industry that has a lot of experts, and you cannot go it alone.
And there is a target on your back, and I know you love it right where it is, right? Because everybody in this industry is watching you. And somebody said the other day, it's like, Anthony, if you do that, there's a target on your back. I go, put it right there.
Yeah, I mean, that drives us, right? So, but it's interesting about the Las Vegas community. Yeah, it's tough competition, but it's one of the greatest communities where we really do all support each other. You got Resorts World is opening this week, and of course, Scott Sabella, the CEO. He was here for my opening. I'll be there for his opening.
We're actually talking to him tomorrow.
Yeah, Scott's wonderful. You be sure to tell him I said hi, and I will be at his opening, and I wish him the very best of luck. We are a community that we know that we want everybody to be successful. It's good for the community when it all works. So it's a very supportive community, and we all have targets on our back, and I accept mine.
But it's different than, listen, I come from 30 years in New York City. It's completely different. Yes. Everybody in New York, man, you're gunslinging.
Yeah.
Everybody's on their own. Nobody's coming together, and everybody's just trying to figure it out. Here, you need each other to be successful. You need the Resorts World to be successful for you to be successful because more people come to Vegas.
What I love about Vegas, and it's one of the reasons I moved here 4 or 5 years ago, is a sense of community. There is a sense of community here, not only just with residential and generally with the public, but from the industry. The industry is a community.
Right. If you look at that other place in New Jersey that I won't mention, it was kind of, we're all in it for ourselves. And then you have 1 or 2 big hotels right now in that area doing well, and everybody else is, is having a problem.
Yeah. But it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be with both of you. I'm really honored and humbled to be part of this.
Thanks, boss. How can people stay here? How do we find you?
There's a number of different ways. Call me directly. No, I'm not kidding. Kidding, because
he'll be working in the reservations office.
Don't call me with pickles on the plate. No, just you go directly to our website or call directly. If you're Hilton Honors members, you can click through Hilton. Is a great way of getting there. You can go to Virgin Hotels. So there's multi-channels here. But
call Richard Branson. He'll hook you up.
Call Richard Branson. He was here last week, as Jeff indicated, and he had a great time here. But either come directly through the hotel property website or directly through Hilton Honors. You'll find that. Click on, or go through Virgin Hotels.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you.
Thank you both. I really appreciate you.
All right, just hang tight right there for 1 second. Let's just wrap up the show tomorrow, guys. Listen, no live show tomorrow. We're going to be recording interviews with Scott Sabella and some other folks over at Resorts World. We'll run those on Thursday. We'll be back Wednesday with the live show with the good folks from downtown, the Fremont Street District, and some other surprises as well. So stick around for that. We got a whole week in Vegas. And, of course, on Friday night, we'll be doing Friday Night Audit from Resorts World. So thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate you all. Remember, you've only got one life, so blaze on. And
what they say is what happens in Vegas only happens in Vegas. Be kind to yourself.
All right, see you all Wednesday.